Welcome to NWA and Beyond, your real estate podcast.
Hey, here we are again at NWA and Beyond, our third episode. Carter Clark here with Russell King. Today we are going to go through what it takes to get in the real estate brokerage business. So, Russell, we've both been in this business a long time, and I think one of the most popular questions I get when I'm talking to somebody that's had it in the back of their head is, how do you get started in real estate? What does it take to get going? And luckily, we got our own teacher right here to fill us in at the Clark Long School of Real Estate, Russell. So when somebody comes in and they say, hey, I want to get started in the real estate business, what are my steps? Where do you go with them with that?
It's funny, man, because I hear a lot of people in the business and a lot of people who are not in the business ask that question. How do I get in the business? And everybody kind of naturally goes, well, you got to, get your license, and you got to, get a broker, and then you follow somebody's plan and work hard and try real hard, But I think the getting in the weeds of, well, where do I go? Where do I start first?
What is step one? Like, let's
exactly.
go from here's point A to moving forward. So, like, if somebody says, I want to go get my license, what does it take with the state of Arkansas today?
Yeah.
If somebody goes, I want to go get my license, what does that look like for somebody?
Yeah, first thing you have to do is I would go to the Arkansas Real Estate Commission's website, and the web address I'll even give you right now, which is arec.arkansas.gov. And from there, there's actually a tab on their website that shows you in licensing. It's called licensing. You can go for new applicant, and it actually has the following steps. When you're a new licensee or new potential, here are the steps. I mean, you got to pay some money, but step one, you got to be 18 years old. That's just to start. Then you got to go take 60 hours of classroom, real estate class.
What's that look like? So 60 hours, I know we have the Clark Long School of Real Estate. What's that look like for for somebody to come in and get 60 hours with us?
Yeah. For 60 hours with Clark Long, Mark Flake and I teach that course typically every month. So Mark and I teach every typically we do like the second and third weekends. The way our schedule is, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the following Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So it's two basically full weekends, including a Friday.
Yes. Yep. But
and that knocks out their whole 60 hours.
60 hours is done. That's what the current requirement is, and so that's all we have to teach, so to speak. There's a lot of other schools that do different stuff, but I'm like, man, some schools are 2 hours a night for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for 8 weeks and all this other stuff. And it's like, we dump it into 2 weekends. Now they're long hours, but we take breaks and, we do everything that the state lets us and recommends. But it's the hardest, fastest school to get your hours over with. So if you're like, man, I got a full-time job, I get it. Figure out how to get those 2 Fridays off and then hang out with me for the weekends.
Gotcha. So what are some of the other schedules of some of these other local real estate schools and possibilities? Is there an online option too?
There are online, but, man, it's funny. Every pre-licensed class, every weekend that I ask, I typically teach the first weekend in the set, and I say, who all started their online school first? And every class so far, it's been like 70% raise their hand. And I'm like, oh, how was it? And they're like, oh, it was horrible. I have to just sit there and read. I don't get any real world education. I don't get any real world stories or how, I can't ask a question online. You have to read and answer a quiz and keep you got to log all your time. So you can either do 60 hours by yourself, or you can do 60 hours with another group of people, and they're actually learning together. And, so.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I did this in 2003, I did my class online. And it was the most difficult thing ever, because you're sitting there trying to just go through the regiment of spending 60 hours by yourself going through all the questions. But I know that is some way some people learn, and that's the way that some people – and there's that opportunity out there. And then there's also some different class schedules that might work for people at different times. So whether it's the Clark Long School or another school, we just want the right people to get in this business, right?
Right, for sure. Yeah. And that's the first thing you got to do is you got to get a license to really start doing anything.
Right. So we go through, and so now let's pretend I just finished my 60-hour course. What are the next steps for me to get licensed in the state?
Yeah, and a stutter step to that would be I know with our school, we give you the packet of all this from and this is where we got it, was from the Real Estate Commission. So here's the requirement. You take your course, you get a diploma, you fill out your packet, you mail it to the Real Estate Commission. And as of right now, once they get your packet and you're eligible, they email you. And here's the last couple of months, I know a lot of agents or potential agents have had problems with the fact that email gets dumped into their spam folder.
Really? Do you know what that email is from so they can keep an eye out for it?
It's somewhere from, licensing, I think, or I'm not exactly. It's not a person through the commission. It's like a support.
Automated email type
something
thing?
like that. And that's the problem. But, if I could give a tidbit to that, I'd say, hey, that's an area of, you don't want to bother the commission, but a little bit of squeaky wheel gets the grease. If you've mailed it and it's been 2 weeks, you should be calling the Real Estate Commission going, hey, I just want to make sure that y'all received my packet and it's in the process.
So what all is in that packet that they have to send in?
So a copy of their driver's license proving that they're 18, their background check that they're saying, yes, I allow you to send this to the Arkansas State Police to do a background check, the application check, which I think right now is $50, and there's another packet that's attached to that for fingerprints.
Gotcha. So you got to do your fingerprints and send them off to the
Yeah.
state police. So then you get all that stuff back. I've taken my 60 hours. The state says I'm free to go take my exam. What's that look like in the state of Arkansas?
Yeah, right now, Pearson VUE testing facilities, you've probably seen a Pearson VUE branded book somewhere, but Pearson VUE has multiple testing facilities across the state. And so what you get from the Real Estate Commission is an eligibility number. It's like a 6 or 8 digit number that says, hey, this is your code to go take your test. You get on Pearson VUE's website, and they'll say, what test are you looking for? You say Real Estate Arkansas, and they say, what is your eligibility number? You enter in your code, and then they'll say, okay, here's your calendar and the locations. Where and when would you like to take your test?
Got you. So you just pick that place, and off you go, start figuring it out, and get ready to go sit for the exam.
That's it, yeah.
And there's 2 parts to the exam, right? What are those?
National and state. You got 80 questions on the national, which is about the typical principles of real estate across the country. And then another test that's 30 questions that are specifically about the law and regulations and how it applies to Arkansas. So those 2 courses, those 2 tests.
So I know as we meet with agents that have just gotten done taking the course, passing their exam, oftentimes they come in here and they go, well, I just took this 60-hour course. I got this piece of paper. They didn't teach me anything about how to sell real estate, right? So like the exam is to understand the laws, to understand, what our job is as realtors, to be on the up and up fiduciary responsibility, understanding brokerage responsibility, all that sort of stuff. And then it's after that you have a job to go figure out what the right broker is for you that fits your needs.
Yeah, and truthfully, they have 90 days. From the day that you pass your test, you have 90 days to go find a broker and either put your license active or inactive. Active is actually, I'm going to start doing it in real estate. I'm going to start being, working. I'm going to work for brokerage. Inactive is like, hey, just keep it in the cloud. I want to keep it for a rainy day. But if you pass your test and don't do anything, it kind of goes retro and you have to start all over. So
so after 90 days, you got to go retake the exam?
Yeah, that's what the commission says. So within 90 days, you need to go interview a broker. I say you need to, interview multiple brokers, really. Even if you, I'm kind of jumping the shark here, but what I see is a lot of agents go, well, I'm getting into business because my friend is in it and they love it. And so I'm just going to go to their team or their brokerage or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that fundamentally, right? But I think a lot of agents do that and then they don't make it, or they didn't really learn through that team atmosphere. And then they just let their license lapse or get out of the business or whatever. So I think interviewing a broker is really important.
I think interviewing multiple brokers is really important too, so you get a good feel. So it's unique in our business, I think, from what a lot of people do is I say there's a butt for every seat, right? There's a whole lot of different real estate brokerage models and a lot of different things that serve different people, and that's okay.
Absolutely.
There's a different model for everybody that fits what they're doing. But I think importantly, especially starting off, is finding out a broker that has the right training, the right tools, the right surroundings, because statistically it's pretty amazing how many people that if they don't get rolling in the right direction from the get-go how fast a lot of people get out of this business, because you really have to have that momentum to keep going. So I just took my test. I'm thinking about interviewing brokers. Even before you take your exam, you can go start that process, can't you, and start interviewing folks?
I think more brokers would love that. Love to see agents or potential agents call and say, hey, I'd like to interview with you. And I think you said that right on the head a while ago. I think a lot of people go in going, hey, here's my resume, which is a good thing to have, but they need to interview the brokerage as well. You know, they need to know what they're getting, what they're giving, and asking the questions that don't usually get asked. I think people think, oh, this is an employment deal, which it is kind of, but they think I need to bring my resume and I have to have my best Sunday suit on, those are all good things, but I think they kind of miss the point in the moment. Yeah,
the right thing is really finding a culture that fits for you.
Yeah.
And a place that you feel like you can grow and thrive in, and a lot of that's around the tools and systems. So when they pass their exam, then they're finding a broker. So what are some good, like I have a few questions that I think are good questions, but what are some of your favorite questions that you get asked by new applicants about our brokerage here at Weichert Realtors, the Griffin Company, that you go, they're on it. They're on the right pace. They're looking for the right place for them. What are some questions that you hear on a regular basis that kind of set people apart?
Man, I mean, I've heard this one before, but I heard this one last week, which is why it's coming to the top right now. But what's the missing information? Or what am I not asking as a new agent that a seasoned agent would ask? It's like, okay, that's a good one. Which is, I know I don't know what it's like I know I don't know, so tell me what I don't know.
Right.
What I need to know because I don't know it.
So what are some things as a brand new agent that they need to know?
Man, they need to understand, yes, what is the culture like? Can I come to, do you have sales meetings? Can I come to one? Can I come hang out with y'all for a while? And I mean 30 minutes to an hour. I don't mean a half a day, but, can I come see what your people are like? Because your people move the business for sure. And I think everybody thinks when they first get in, I want to be, and I'm not against small boutiques, but I think everybody wants that blend of small boutique. I want to know and love everybody I work with. But I also want those big reaching features that go nationwide or worldwide. And so to find that's hard, but a lot of times people miss that in the interview. They don't ask and they go, okay, well, whatever plan you have sounds good, but I don't know what I don't know. And then they somehow get kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
So I think, some of the things, how many people are in my office or how many people work here, what is expected of me, a little bit of if you could use the letter E, the top ear is what do you expect of me? The middle one is what I can expect of you. And then what is, the last one would be, what do you expect me to make, as far as business goes?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things too is a lot of people have a misunderstanding of costs associated with being a real estate agent, and one of the things is once they get their license, there's some fees that it takes to get started. So you're paying some fees to the local board of realtors to get your license, MLS, all that stuff. You're paying some fees to the National Association of Realtors, and there's some orientation type fees to get started. So right now, kind of what does that look like for a brand new agent coming into the business to kind of get off the ground with just the local board out of pocket before they sell their first thing?
Yeah, once you get your license, once you even join a brokerage, you got to go join our local board. At least in Northwest Arkansas, you got to join the local board and pay around $900, per year. It's prorated too. So if you get in August or January, those are two different numbers. But I think that's where people go, oh my gosh, I need to pay that right now. And it's like, yeah, but that gives you access to the MLS, all of their trainings. It gives you lock boxes. It gives you all the details. Which that's another caveat. The question of, well, who pays for lock boxes? Where do I get business cards from? Who pays for all that? You roll into all of that and recognize, if I pay for this, does the brokerage pay for that? And I would say, I don't know of any brokerages right now that will pay for your dues. Anything that has to do with your licensing or anything like that is kind of on the agent's shoulder. right?
Yeah, and I think it's an important question to ask those other questions, like who pays for signs, who pays for lock boxes, who pays for name riders, who pays for business cards, is there a tech fee, is there an E&O fee, is there a copy fee, is there a marketing fund fee? Because I think a lot of times when people get in this business and it's a commission-based business, the thing they look at first is, what's my split? Well, 100% of nothing's nothing. So it's like, how do we get them to where they're making money and have all the tools and resources behind them, but there's a cost associated with that. That's either carried by the company or by that agent coming in brand new. So I think every office has a different model, and I think asking those questions and doing the math before you get into is an important first step.
I agree for sure.
So some of the questions I hear a lot of times that I really like are those questions about who buys stuff, right? And the second question I think that gets missed by a lot of new people coming in is asking questions about the support staff in the office.
Yeah.
So every office kind of has a different design and feel, but I think figuring out what the admin does at the front, what's their role, how are they going to help me? What's the marketing team look like? What does the broker owner do for me every day? Is there a closing coordinator role? What does that do? Is there a TC? Is there an IT person at this office that when my computer doesn't work, that's my lifeblood? Is there somebody I can go to help? And then what's the sales manager do? What's the trainer do to help me get to where I'm learning not only about real estate and what happens, but how do I get this ball rolling? And I think that's a question that often gets missed sometimes with me when I'm meeting with people for the first time, that they just don't know to ask those questions, and it's important. I think they know to ask about commission splits, right? Because that's how we're going to get paid. Sure. But oftentimes they don't know how to get to that commission.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second, because I think a lot of people go, okay, I want a high split. That makes math sense to me. And I absolutely agree. But if the brokerage isn't helping you get more business, then 100% of nothing is nothing, like you said.
Right.
So understanding the split is one thing, but understanding, am I going to get more dollars? But are you going to train me, teach me? Or are you going to ask for me to pay for stuff that, I didn't know was coming? So now my split is actually getting turned into, I'm losing money because I'm paying the brokerage for something.
Right. And I also think that, oftentimes it's our job as brokers and managers to help guide, coach, teach, and lead and create culture. And that's part of what our job is as brokers and owners, is to create a culture and an office environment where we can either help them make more money or more time, and both is better, right? So the more stuff we're bringing to the table to give them more time, either working with more buyers and sellers or spending more time with their family or doing whatever it is that time is valuable, that's our job, is to earn our part of the commission through creating time and then helping them make more money by having the tools and systems. So that's another thing that I think a lot of people don't ask about, is what tech tools are available. What's your tech stack look like at the brokerage? And I think everybody has a different one. So I think that's an important one for people to ask. The other one that I don't hear enough of that I think is important is there a CRM? Is there a website? Is there something available in that tech stack for me to go generate my own leads?
Yeah.
That's something that when you're not in the real estate business, it's a question you don't know to ask. And really, this is a snowball business. And without a good CRM, without a good tech stack, it's really hard. And you're just, in that first year, you're just trying to get those first deals. And once you get those first deals, this business is really about doing an excellent job for that person that then you can go work with their friends and family because you did an excellent job.
That's good.
And I think that's really a question that doesn't get asked enough, is what is your tech stack? Do you have a CRM, and how can that help me grow my business? And I think that's a really good question for people to ask.
Love it. That's good.
Is there anything else that you can think of that somebody that's interested getting into business for the first time would be a hurdle or something to look at going into it?
I think sometimes it gets looked at as it's such a daunting task. I mean, we just went over 15 minutes worth of you got to do all of these things, and so I think that's it seems like one big hurdle. But if you think of it and break it down into steps, first thing I got to do is go take a 60-hour course. That's it. As long as you're 18 or older, you go to ClarkLongSchoolOfRealEstate.com, see when a school is coming up. We've got one I know coming up next week, March 13th. Pay for class and just show up and, just start with that one little hurdle. Once you get through that, you go on to the next one, rather than looking at the whole big thing from where I am today as a non-agent to paying my dues and, making my first sale. Don't look at all of it. Don't miss the forest for the trees.
That's great. And I think this business is so fun and has so much upside potential for anybody that just has a heart to help people, that wants to help create dreams for people to be able to have home ownership, and doesn't have commission breath. That's looking to help others, and then everything else works out. It's the greatest long-term profession there is out there. It's the worst short-time job.
Yes.
Somebody that has an attitude and a mind and a vision to be in this business for a long time, it's the greatest profession you could be in, and I think that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, Nettie Everett retired a few years ago at like 93 years old, and she only quit because she wanted to.
Right.
And she could have kept going. But I think that's great to think about. Hey, I can do real estate the rest of my life. I can't always do manual labor till I'm 90. So.
And you can control your schedule, you can control your time, and you can be surrounded by people that want to help you be successful and love on you.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, well, this is a fun third episode of NWA and Beyond, your real estate podcast. We're looking forward to the next one.